What's up, guys? So we are entering the new season in less than 24 hours. New season called Visions of the Future. So yeah, okay, shaping a robotic tomorrow where emotions are as real as any circuit board, blah blah blah. Okay, I have no idea what this is. As mentioned before, I'm not exactly a Marvel fan. But yeah, I mean, I'm not anti-Marvel as well. This game looked interesting. That's how I got started on this game. Yep. So let's talk about this thing. We got a lot of feedback, blah blah blah. Putting a card behind super premium felt restricting. So if you were to ask me, this is obviously a step in the right direction. I don't want to, be super negative about it. But I have a feeling they realize that people are not buying the super premium card, the super season pass, all right, and they will have a better they'll have a better they'll have a better way to generate revenue by forcing players to spend tokens so that players run out of tokens and then have to make those purchases, right? Because I think a lot of negativity is still around, right? Within my own alliance, I have, I think, 3 people who used to buy every single season pass stop, right? So yeah, no season pass equals no super season pass, which is why I think their sales for the super season pass is not that good, right? So maybe they are taking this step back, right? That is my guess. So yep, let's move on to the cards. All right, the season pass. Vision 3/2. At the start of each turn, give all your cards in your hand +1 power if you are winning here. Otherwise, move this to another location. Now, I actually think this is a very interesting season pass. Very, very interesting. Right. I mean, and I think it looks balanced, right? Because 3/2 obviously is very, very bad, especially in today's meta, in today's game. 3/2 is very, very low powered, if I could say so, right? But the effect, if it's able to give all your cards in your hand +1 power, that's insane. And I'm not even talking about synergy with Victoria hand, things like that, right? Giving all the cards in your hand +1 power is makes it very, very makes it impossible. I'll just use the word impossible to predict what's going to happen, right? So it can go crazy, right? And this being a 3 cost fits into a Silver Surfer deck as well, right? So imagine hitting Sebastian Shaw, imagine hitting Brute, right? Imagine hitting Brute and Absorbing Man together, right? So it has a lot of possibilities, right? Or just imagine this hitting Iron Man, a 5/1 Iron Man. Yeah, you may think that it's not a lot, but it swings. It swings the game in your favor by quite a fair bit. Alright, or Blue Marvel, 5/4 Blue Marvel. Right, so yeah, I do think that this card is going to be good, but it's definitely not going to be easy to utilize it. And if you are able to utilize it twice, it can really go crazy. Alright, imagine like what I mentioned, a 5/2 Iron Man, nuts. 5/5 Blue Marvel, nuts. Right, Sebastian Shaw getting hit twice, insane. Right, Brute getting hit twice. Brute will become a 3/4, right? 3/4, and then you pump it up, it's going to be a 3/12, even without Silver Surfer. That's crazy, right? And if you combo it with Absorbing Man, and your Absorbing Man is a 4/7, that's a 4/21. 4/21 before Silver Surfer. So yeah, I do think that this card is fantastically done. It's very well done. Of course, the problem is getting how you can win the lane, right? Because 3/2 is very, very bad, right? So it's going to be very, very interesting. And of course, the secondary ability, otherwise move this to another location, helps. So yeah, I don't expect this card to suck, because even though it has a 3/2 drawback in that sense, this ability should help at least trigger trigger the effect at least once or twice, right? So I do think that this is going to be a powerful card. But it doesn't feel bad losing to this card because you know they actually have to strategize and do something about it. The next card, the Super Season Pass card, is actually one that I think is very good. All right, not just in terms of card strength, but also in terms of concept. All right, it's going to make move fantastic. Right, trust me, I honestly think Sparky is going to make move, you know, back into the meta and shine. 2-1 activate, give your card that last move plus 3 power and move it back to the previous location. Now, I honestly think that this is very good, alright, because let's take a look at the base of it, the basic of it, right? The base of it is a 2-4, right? And it triggers again, so it can be much more. Right, so if you move Vulture, I think Vulture is a +3, right? Right, it will become a 2-7, which is very strong. Right, if you move a Human Torch, well, that just goes off. Right, imagine you add 3 to Human Torch, it doubles again. So yeah, you guys can do the math. But the biggest power, the biggest thing that Sparky brings to the table is it can help you rectify where your pieces are moving. Right, so for example, right now, if you guys are aware, let me just put out the disclaimer. I'm not saying that Fanfare is a definitive card for move or things like that, but sometimes you have the problem of, you know, you want to play all your scalers into the Fanfare land and then you boom move Fanfare such that, you know, you trigger all of them. But the problem with doing so is you get caught in a situation whereby you have one huge lane and the other lane sucks. You have the same issue with Heimdall, right? Because if after you move everything, chances are you have one big lane, you have one lane that is decent, and then you have Heimdall by himself, 10 power by himself, right? Which typically will lose the game, will lose the lane, or you totally give up on that lane. You play Heimdall in one of the 2 locations, right? And you give up a lane, you surrender that lane. But with Sparky, it's very different, right? Because there is a possibility that after you Heimdall, you can pop something back into the Heimdall lane, and you can contest that lane as well, right? So it opens up a lot of things, and Helion, right? Just with a Helion that, you know, helps move players to rectify their erratic movements, alright? Their wrong movement, their awkward moves, has proven to be fantastic. Right, so I honestly think Sparky is going to be great, and I'm actually excited. I'm actually very tempted. If you guys have been following me, I've been playing a lot of Move recently, right? The last 2 seasons, previously without Halo, and this season with Halo, and I'm, you know, having so much fun. I'm actually very tempted to, you know, splash out 6,000 tokens to get Sparky, right? Yeah, that's how I feel. Next up, new characters. Let's start with the first one, Morax. When this is destroyed, get a copy of your opening hand. This feels very awkward to me, right? Why do I want a copy of my opening hand? Unless I'm playing Victoria hand. But if I'm playing Victoria hand, how am I going to destroy this? Hood plus destroy Morax, but all that, I don't know, man. It's awkward. And if I'm looking at destroy, why would I want to play this over Agony, where I can merge with my Deadpool and make a really big, you know, a really big Deadpool? I don't know. I'm failing to get a sense of what this card will do, where this card will land, right? And in any case, I do think that the weak ones card typically, you know, is off the target. It's not very good. So yeah, I don't know how to rate this card. But the next card is actually very good if you would ask me. Bastion, 4-3, on review, add copies of your other cards here to your hand. Set their cost to 2 and power to 3. Insane. You have an Iron Man in the deck, you get a 2-3 Iron Man. That's just nuts. You have a Sarah in your deck, you add it, you have a 2-3 Sarah. That's crazy. That is just crazy. Alright, so honestly, I think this card is going to be very fun. This card is going to be nuts. Right, because just imagine it. Alright, and if somehow you played a Victoria hand early, you're able to generate these insane cards. Wow. Just, or imagine you have Victoria hand and then you create a 2/3 Moonstone. Wow. Basically you are playing 2 copies of Victoria hand. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential behind Bastion. I think that Bastion could really spark a lot of different decks, and it's a lot of value based decks, right? And it's going to be it's going to be crazy. It could even fit into a Patriot deck, into an Ultron deck, alright? A 2/3 Ultron. Imagine getting a 2/3 Ultron, getting a 2/3 Patriot, getting a 2/3 Mystic, and being able to play all of them on your last turn. Nuts, right? I'm actually very very excited to see, you know, the all the cooks from Bastion. Next up, Jim Hammond, Human Torch, 1/2 at the start of each turn, +1 power for each bonus energy you have. Bonus energy. What is bonus energy? So, uh, we have to play Weaken. We have to play Weaken to trigger the additional energy, and then you get +1 power. I don't know. I'm not very sure if this is going to be worth it, right? Playing Lunar Snow, Weaken, you need something to, you know, stay there perpetually. You need to gain that bonus energy perpetually. It can't be something like Psylocke. Otherwise, if it's something like Psylocke or Jennifer Kill, it's just going to be a 1/3, and I don't know, why would you go through all that trouble for 1/3? Right, I don't think this is going to be a fantastic card, but it is, I don't think it's going to be a fantastic card for now, right? Because I I'm trying to guess, but you see, at the start of each turn, we have an end of turn archetype. I do believe that we could have a start of turn archetype. So this card may see some future shenanigans. I don't know. Right, but for now, I don't think this card is going to be very solid. Yeah, I'm not very optimistic about this card. The next card is a card that I somewhat fear. Warlock. Activate for each unspent energy, give a card in your hand -1. So it's probably gonna bring back High Evo. It's gonna bring back High Evo. The High Evo version that's gonna be back is definitely gonna be the end of turn version. So yeah, it's going to be that. Though it will be a bit hypocritical of me because I'll be getting an end of turn cards at the start of next season, and I'll definitely be playing some end of turn. So yeah, it's kind of hypocritical for me to say so, but yeah, it is what it is. Activate for each unspent energy, give a card in your hand -1 cost. Pretty big if you would ask me, right? If you were to pair it with a Sunspot, right? So if let's say you float, and I think it's going to be pretty big on turn 5, right? So if you float 5 energy, your Sunspots get the 5 energy. I'm not even going to talk about whether you trigger with Invisible Woman, right? Give a card in your hand -1 cost, so it could be -5 cost. And imagine it hitting Infernaut, She-Hulk, stuff like that. Your last turn power output is going to be very unpredictable. It's going to be phenomenal. So yeah, I actually think this card is going to be good. It's going to bring back High Evo, which I think is cool, but I'm afraid it will bring back a lot of end of turn shenanigans. So yeah, and one thing that I like, partially because I just got a very cool Bruce Banner variant. In fact, I have 2 very cool Bruce Banner variants. Is that I do think that this card is going to bring back Bruce Banner, right? Because one bad thing about Bruce Banner is that, you know, sometimes you float additional energy and it doesn't help, but now you have a card that actually helps, right? So yeah, it doesn't matter if you have your Sunspot and your Bruce Banner, you float those energy, you get some sort of Sarah with this Warlock, right? So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what this can do to bring back high evo. I'm just a little bit cautious as to whether it will bring back a bunch of end of turn shenanigans. Final card, Jocasta. Immediately activate your other cards here without using their activate abilities. This is a card that I'm really scared will bring back a lot of end of turn shenanigans. Right. Wait, hang on. End of turn, yeah, end of turn's abilities are activate, right? So yeah. If you were to ask me, we have already seen how Invisible Woman First Steps is crazy, right? By being a Wong that cannot be stopped, and we have Jocasta doing the same. The difference is, of course, it's just here, right? It's not global, but it's very difficult to stop Jocasta because you can shield Jocasta. You can shield Jocasta with other cards and things like that, right? So there's really no currently there's really no very good way to stop activate. You know, there's no unless you're Red Guardian, but you see the problem with running Red Guardian is that Red Guardian is either a very very good card or a very bad card, right? In certain situations, Red Guardian doesn't tag against anything. It doesn't really help you, right? So putting Red Guardian as your only tag card is quite a risky thing to do. I do think that Jocasta is going to be strong. There's going to be a lot of crazy activations going off, right? But I think at least, you know, Second didn't learn from their lesson. They didn't make it global. If this is global, I can safely assure you it's going to be Invisible Woman First Steps round 2, right? Just maybe on a slightly lesser magnitude, maybe round 2 at 85%, 80% kind of impact. But yeah, that's what's going to happen. But at least it's only restricted to one location, so maybe it's going to be not that bad. Yeah, but I do think that Jocasta is going to cause some crazy things and likely to, you know, result in some kind of combo being broken or something. Yeah, so I mean, if you pair this with things like, I am pretty sure Fantastica is activate, right? Imagine, you know, you activate a Fantastica, you activate an Invisible Woman, and it snowballs. It's just crazy. Yeah, now that I mention it, right? Hang on, let me just pull it out. I'm pretty sure it's activate, right? Yeah, see, activate. So imagine it compounding to your crazy Invisible Woman First Steps. So this is going to be nuts, man. This is going to make end of turn cards crazy, right? You activate this. Basically, this is Invisible Woman. Oh my god! I just realized this is actually Invisible Woman First Steps. This is Invisible Woman First Steps, just a weaker version of it. Alright guys, take back. I'm gonna take back whatever I said about this card. This card is crack. This card is insane. Alright? This card is insane. This card is Invisible Woman First Steps on a lower scale. But it's still crack. Yeah. So basically, if you really hate end of turn, I think after Warlock, end of turn is gonna be back. After Jocasta, end of turn is gonna be back. Right, now we move on to the Series 4 cards. The Series 4 cards this season have been fantastic, have been fabulous. Redshift and Terra have been insanely good, not in the sense of card strength, but in the sense of, you know, bringing back archetypes. So insane, love it. So let's see what Series 4 cards they have for us next season. Awesome Andy 2-1 activate. Okay, I'm guessing this is a typo. Give one of your cards at each other location +2 power. One of your other cards at each other location, so that's 2 location. 2 locations, so that's +4. So Awesome Andy is a 2-5 spread. Okay, but obviously you need things like you need to combo this with something else, right? Otherwise it's just a flat 2-5 spread, which I think is okay, but not that good. So obviously you need to combo this with things like Invisible Woman, so that it becomes a 2-9, right? It becomes 2-9, or you merge this with Jocasta, although I'm not so sure where Jocasta. Why would you put Jocasta with Awesome Andy? Holy shit! I just realized something, guys. What if you play Jocasta and you activate Invisible Woman, right? So, oh, okay. Okay, this is an activate, not an end of turn. Yeah, so it doesn't trigger. It doesn't trigger this twice. Yeah, but if you do get this with Jocasta, it should be pretty. It should be pretty good, right? You somehow pack this into the Jocasta lane, right? But I don't know how many cards would you place over, would you prioritize into the Jocasta lane, right? I haven't played End of Turn, but yeah, if you can get this into Jocasta, it becomes a 2-9, right? 4 + 4, 8, 2-9, 2-9 spread. Good, decent. I'll say decent. Next up, Omega Sentinel. Activate, afflict the highest power enemy card with -7 power. Wow, so this is basically a 4-10. This is a 4-10, no condition. Wow. This is actually very, very good. This is very, very good. Right. Value-wise, this is insane. 4-10. 4-10. It's basically a 4-10. Right. And wait, Jocasta hits activate, right? Yeah, if you play this into Jocasta's lane, it's a 4-17. Holy crap, it's a 4-17 into Jocasta lane, guys. And Fantastica is a 4-17 that got nerfed. And here we have a 4 another, okay, at least you have to put some, or at least you have to, put it into Jocasta lane. It's a 2-card combo, but even if this is not a 4-17, this is a 4-10. It's good. It's good. Right. The highest ceiling for 4-cost cards right now is 10. It is 10. Right. So yeah, and if we were to plug this into, I'm just thinking, does it do better than Manting the Thing in Affliction deck or Ralphie? In terms of raw power, it can match, but the problem is the Affliction count, right? Because you want an Affliction count for Ajax. So yeah, I don't think this card will manage to get a place in Affliction deck, but it is great value. It is great value, and obviously it's going to work with Jocasta. So we're going to see activate take over the mana. We're definitely going to see activate take over the mana with this card, because this card is a 4-17. It's insane. Just plug it with Jocasta 4-17. You're going to win that lane. You're definitely going to win that lane, dude. You're definitely going to win that lane. And now I'm seeing something is we have a very cool combo. Jocasta, Awesome Andy, and Omega Sentinel. Right? So you are definitely winning the lane. You have a 4-17. You have a 3 power. Your effective power is 20. You have an Awesome Andy. You have a 21 power. Alright, you have 21 power. It's a 21 power. I think it doesn't necessarily secure, but it's looking good. Right? And then you have a +8 somewhere else. I think this archetype is looking dang strong. Right? This archetype is looking dang strong. Now we move on to the next card. Super Adeptoid. 3/5 on review, steal the text from an enemy activate card here. Okay, so obviously this is the tech card for activate. I do not like to talk about tech cards. I don't like to review tech cards, to be very frank, because first of all I don't really like playing tech, right? So tech is tech. It's just a way to fight against a certain kind of deck, a certain kind of archetype, right? So yeah, if you really hate that archetype, you really hate that kind of deck, then you're gonna love that card. But it's quite useless. I mean, this card is useless against a Wong Panther Zola deck. It's absolutely useless. This card is absolutely useless against a discard deck, right? So yeah, it's basically a counter against activate. So by the time, if I'm guessing, if you're sick of, I believe Jocasta is gonna make activate crazy, right? So if you're tired by that time, Jocasta rolls around, then you need to get this card. Final card, limited time event. So I think this is the Deadpool's Diner card, right? We are gonna have Deadpool Diner. I know a lot of people hate it, but we'll see how it goes. Activate, destroy an enemy card here with less power. It's not very strong. To me, to be honest, I don't think this is a very strong card. 6 power doesn't really cut much. But of course the swing will be fine. I think, but this card can be pretty. I do think that this card can flow into activate cards, right? Because it can potentially take out important things like a Wong. It can potentially take out Detroit, Mystic, Iron Man, right? So I'm not high on this card, but I do see it having some people liking it, right? Other than that, I am not sure why, I'm not sure how this card will actually fit in very nicely. I'd rather go for some raw power or some impact myself, rather than, I'm not very sure about this card. And I guess that will make Deadpool Diner even worse, alright, if you don't really like, if you don't like that event already. I don't think this card is going to be that strong, right? Because if it hits a 1/2, then yeah, it's a 4/8, right? So in terms of value, in terms of power, it doesn't make sense to play this card. I mean, why not get Omega Sentinel? Omega Sentinel is a 4/10, right? This, it could be just a 4/8. It could just be a 4/8. It could be, I don't know. Even if you hit a 3 power, it will be just a 4/9. So yeah, I am not so sure about it being good. I mean, it's outclassed by Omega Sentinel easily, right? Unless you are able to destroy this. The value of this card comes in if you are able to destroy things like Mobius. You are able to destroy things like Wong. You are able to destroy things like Invisible Woman First Steps, right? But of course, it's you may miss, you may whiff on it. So yeah. But I do see how some people like it. Okay, I'm not going to care much about new locations at a random. Right, this season is going to be all about activate, yeah. Okay, interesting. This is going to be interesting. Sebastian Shaw. Each time this kind of things comes out, the first thing that comes to my mind is Sebastian Shaw, yeah. Right, so we have Deadpool Diner, 18 to 25, so mid-month, so yeah. So blah 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 blah. Oh, we also have high voltage. Purely cosmetic, so that's fine. Okay, brand new albums, blah blah blah. Shop takes over. Yeah, so okay, weekend edition, purely cosmetic. Okay, I mean, just get whatever you want from it. Hopefully we manage to hopefully there will be some easy variants for us. As for Deadpool Diner, it is what it is. I've done a guide on Deadpool Diners before. I think it's still valid. You can search my older videos if you want to, right? But not thrilled about the card. Not thrilled about the cards. Alright, that's it guys. That's it from Old Charlie about the next season, Visions of the Future. It's going to be it's going to be pretty exciting. Activate is going to be taking all over the meta, and I expect some people to love it. I expect some people to absolutely hate it. For those who hate it, for those who think that it's absolutely imbalanced, who thinks that it's absolutely overpowered, I guess you have to wait for Omega Sentinel. Sorry, not Omega Sentinel. You have to wait for Super Adaptoid. Just grab Super Adaptoid. you really have to grab Super Adaptoid, right? But it is what it is. I think that it's going to be a pretty, not necessarily exciting season, but it's going to be a very, it's going to shake, the meta is going to change. There's going to be a huge shake up. Alright, it's all going to be activate, and we'll see. If it's overpowered, if it is not balanced, then we'll see what happens. We'll let it run through. We'll take it as it is. We'll see what happens. We will we'll take it as it comes. We'll take it on the chin, and yep, that's all I have for everyone. So see you guys in Visions of the Future.